Oh, as a cosplay influencer, oh my gosh, I hated that. Please, no, no. As someone who cosplays, I get asked the question a lot of like, oh, what are the easiest materials do you recommend to work with? And by a lot, I mean one time. I got this question one time, and then I was reminded of it like yesterday, and I was like, I should make a video about that. So here we are. For like your cheaper options of the spectrum, foam, EVA foam. You can find that at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. You know, craft stores normally are carrying that now, which is super nice because it makes it super accessible. There's also some smaller businesses that specialize just in cosplay materials like EVA foam, like TNT Cosplay and Easy Cosplay, and I think Doki Doki does it too. Paper mache. Paper mache is stupidly accessible, because you need flour, salt, water, and newspaper. And you're like, how can I make paper mache? It doesn't dry instantly. And it's a little annoying because it doesn't dry instantly, but I've used it to make masks. I used it for my jack staff. I've used it for casing EVA foam in, which is kind of defeats the purpose of EVA foam, but I needed it to not wiggle around, okay? Like, don't yell at me. I've used it for like basing. I've used it just to build up stuff so I didn't have to use as much foam. It's super convenient. A little annoying to paint because like the paste on the, you have to get the paste consistency just right, otherwise when you go to paint it, it'll like flake off and it's kind of gross and not fun to deal with. Anywho, EVA foam, super convenient if you know how to use it. I'm not the greatest person at using EVA foam. I can work with it, but I'm not someone to tell you how to use it, so I'm going to link the videos that I learned how to use EVA foam from down below, because even though I could technically tell you how to, I'm not going to, because I would probably just confuse you more. So, not gonna do that. Other easy cosplays are cardboard. 95% of my cosplays are all made out of cardboard. Like props and stuff, or if it's not made out of cardboard, like the base of it's cardboard. My Sammy Lawrence mask is the neck of my guitar, like the backing of my actually entire guitar is all cardboard, which no, doesn't look great, but no one ever looks at the back of your props. So, and honestly, I could have made it look better, I was just rushing. I have a cardboard cutout of my McCready gun in the center of my McCready gun so that it's not wobbly. And then I had something to build off of when I was building it. Duct tape's also great, and I know you're probably thinking, what do you mean duct tape's good for cosplay? Duct tape is great for cosplay. It holds so many things together. It normally doesn't work if you're gonna like put the duct tape on the outside of something, unless that's the look you're going for, but like to hold things on the inside of stuff or things that you're not going to be able to really see. Glue's expensive, duct tape's super cheap, so use duct tape for everything, unless you're going to be swinging your prop around a bunch, so maybe don't use duct tape for that, maybe like use glue. But if you're not going to be swinging around a bunch, duct tape is great. Another thing is PVC pipe. PVC pipe's super affordable. You can get it at Home Depot like for 10 feet for like $5-10. I don't know, I don't ever go to Home Depot, but it's super nice. I use it a lot. My jack staff is entirely made out of PVC pipe and the PVC pipe connectors, because it's easy, it's cheap, and it's super easy to jumble down in sand and put paint on it. Putting paint on straight PVC does not work, so don't do that. You gotta sand your PVC pipe before, because if you do like try to spray paint it or acrylic paint, it will chip off and stuff. Mod Podge is another great thing to use for cosplay. It's super affordable, super cheap, you know, because you get these giant bottles of it, and I use a sponge brush to dab that on normally for texture, and if I'm not doing texture, I'll use a super old paintbrush to get it on. Mod Podge is great because it's even though it doesn't claim it's waterproof, it pretty much waterproofs your props, which is nice. Don't take my word for that, so if your prop like isn't waterproof, I'm sorry. I don't know. It does claim that it's not waterproof, so I don't know. I've just never taken my props out in the rain, I guess. Tacky glue is another wonderful material for cosplay. It's fairly affordable. You can get it at like, you can get all these things at craft stores except for the PVC pipe. You gotta go to a like Home Depot kind of store for that. Tacky glue, I don't actually use that for my craft building, but I use it for styling wigs. Yeah, that's nice. You can also use this as just something if you need it, but it's kind of like Elmer's glue, but a lot stronger, and much less it's much thicker than that kind of glue is. The thing about tacky glue is that it is insanely thick. Takes forever to dry though, I will say that. Unless you hit it with like a hairdryer, but who has time for that? Even though, like, honestly, a hairdryer doesn't even like dry it though, because it only like dries the outer layer, but then when you go to touch it, like squishes and it's all gross. Y'all didn't need to know that, but now you know that. But it comes off pretty easily. You kind of just have to let it dry and then peel it off like you did in like 4th grade, and you were like, my skin's peeling off. I don't know if that was a universal experience, but that's what I did, so yeah, I was an odd child. Okay, it's actually not that cheap, but this isn't super cheap. It's like $4 a bottle, but it's this giant bottle. I use a lot of it, so I don't find it that cheap because I use a lot of it. But if you buy it in bulk, it's cheaper. But yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. Super good hairspray though. You spray it once, you hit it with a hairdryer, and it does not move unless you like wash it out, obviously. But even then, sometimes it doesn't move, and then you're like, what happened? And it was like, whoa. This isn't on the like super affordable side, but foam clay. That's backwards. You can't even read that. Foam clay. I get mine from TNT Cosplay. I get all my foam from TNT Cosplay, but ow. It's super convenient. It's just like EVA foam, dries just like EVA foam, but it's a clay. It's super weird. I hate the texture, but it's really convenient. No. But it's sticky enough to stick to your foam projects, but it's not, or like the cosplay projects, but it's not sticky enough for if you drop it on the ground, it's not gonna be all gross. So that's nice. It does leave a bit of a weird residue on your hands, but like you're working with like foam clay, like that's kind of to be expected. All you have to do is like remember not to leave it out. But once it's cured, it's not flexible, like it will break. I have these earrings for Peach that I haven't painted. Obviously they're not great because they were a last minute thing that I still haven't used. But it's a very weird texture. It's not at all like foam. Even though it's foam clay, but it paints and sands and primes like foam. So it's very weird, but it's completely hard. It's like a clay, but don't do anything. Don't try to break it because it will snap. But the nice thing about this is that instead of wearing super large earrings that will weigh, they weigh nothing. So I have to paint those. Those are obviously not done, but they've been like that for like months and I just haven't painted them. Yeah, anyways, foam clay is great. Love foam clay. Super convenient. You gotta make sure that you close it every time though, because if you don't, it will dry out. And it was like $18 for this whole thing. I've used a good chunk of it, but I've used about that much of it. But it was like $18 for this. I don't know. I'll check. I'll link it down below. Resin's great for cosplay. Super expensive though, so I wouldn't really recommend that as something. And resin's only great if you have a mold for what you're working with. You have to dye resin, and it's kind of toxic, so you gotta like wear the protective gear and not touch it with your hands, and it gets messy and it gets everywhere, and it's really pretty, but it's really inconvenient. It's not materials, but like tool-wise, heat guns, you gotta have a heat gun if you're gonna work with foam. If you don't have a heat gun when you're working with foam, you might as well not be working with foam. You have to have a heat gun. You can buy them on Amazon or at Home Depot or stuff like hardware stores for like 10 to 20 bucks. And I know that like seems kind of expensive, but they will last you forever. They do not burn out unless you like leave it on. But hot glue guns, you gotta have a hot glue gun. Can't do cosplay without a hot glue gun. Do not use hot glue guns to sew, but it's super convenient when you're just needing something to stick together. Dremels, that's not necessarily like super important to have, but it makes stuff super easy. It makes all your edges super clean. I'm not great at using them, but if you know how to use it properly, your edges are amazing and there are no seams. It's beautiful. People who can Dremel properly, they have all my respect. Oh, pliers, tweezers, those are great. You gotta have those. The scissors, you gotta have nice scissors. If you're gonna sew, fabric scissors are expensive though, so, but honestly, if you're gonna shop at a fabric store, like Joann's, and not somewhere like Walmart, you're gonna want to spend the extra money on scissors, because having good scissors will save you. Because if you don't, you're gonna have these scissors that are super dull, and you're gonna cut it, and then it's gonna like be jaggedy, and it's not gonna be great, and you're gonna be like, why? Because you just spent $45 on this 1 yard of fabric. So yeah, so buy fabric scissors. And then once you buy fabric scissors, if you're living with other people in your household, write fabric on every single side of that scissor, so other people will not use it for their paper cutting, because they will dull. And sharpening scissors are the most inconvenient thing in the entire universe, I swear. Super crappy paintbrushes, like some cheap Walmart paintbrushes, are great for cosplay because eventually you're gonna want to weather your outfits. Using nice paintbrushes to weather things is like throwing your super nice camera in a lake. It's a super bad idea because when you weather things, you're gonna take your brush, you completely submerge that, I mean not completely, but like you pretty much completely submerge that in whatever water liquid paint thing mixture you have. You take it out, and it might have even like coffee beans in it, and that's, you can't get coffee beans out of brush bristles. And then you take that and you smear it all around, but like you smear it so like the bristles will like spread out, because that's how you create more of a natural thing. Whether you're doing it on fabric or on paper, you know, you're really gonna mess up your brushes. I did this with brushes and tea, but the brushes on this were not great. A lot of the ripping and the odd color and weathering is all from a paintbrush, which I jammed into this and rubbed around. So it's obviously not great for your brushes. So buy Walmart brushes if you're gonna weather your clothes, because doing it with a not Walmart brush is really bad. It's not gonna end well for anyone. Also staples. Staples are great. I don't know if you can see that, but staples are great. Just staple that stuff together and no one will know. No one will see it. You know, if you want to like actually bookbind stuff like this, go for it. I didn't want to, so I stapled it. Also, this is my comic book for my McCready cosplay from Fallout 4. I hope you like it. It took me forever to find this exact comic, because this is the one he talks about. When you enter Hyper's Comics, and he's like, man, I collected all the Gronk the Guardian ones, and you're like, wow, McCready, that's so boring. And he's like, yeah, so that one. Anywho, you buy bad brushes to weather your clothes, and then keep them in a bag for your bad brushes. Also, makeup brushes. Makeup brushes for weathering your clothes is okay, like not good makeup brushes, obviously, but like, you know the spoolies? Hold on. I have my makeup brushes right here. I wasn't planning on talking about this. It just came into my head. Okay, so you know the spoolie on a makeup brush? That, for weathering something, I'm not going to actually do this because I really like these. These are Sailor Moon brushes. I really like them. But if you take a spoolie and you just, like, go at it while the paper's wet, it, like, only tears up the top, like, like the ink layer, and it, like, makes a super cool weathering effect. And that's super nice. I'm just talking about weathering at this point because I absolutely love weathering things. It's so fun to destroy things. Warble is also super great. Warble is also like $47, $74 for like one roll of it though, so go for it, I guess. But the thermoplastic beads, like the little beads that you do the fangs with, those are super cheap. Those are super convenient. They're just kind of difficult to handle when they first come out because they're like burning hot, so be careful. Super convenient though. Clay, but like not this kind of clay, but like normal sculpting clay is super nice because you can make nails out of them. You can do facial structures out of them. I have a mask that I'm working on right now. That's the base of it is clay. Like weird little things in your home, like bottle caps. I collect bottle caps because I'm obsessed with the Fallout series, but bottle caps can also be used as like pin things for cosplay. They can be used as jewelry decoration, depending on what character you're doing. Cork, like the cork that you get like out of like a cork board, you know. Like corks from like wine bottles or whatever are super nice for using because they're so moldable. Because you can take cork apart, then you can put it back together to make stuff, and then I cover that in like paper mache, and it holds it and it's super lightweight. Cork's cool if you know how to work with it properly. I'm still figuring that out, but it's kind of working. That's pretty much all I have for materials I can think of at the moment. Anyways, that's my list of things that are super easy to work with. Your cheaper beginner options are definitely paper mache, EVA foam, and if you don't have access to EVA foam, cardboard. Paper mache and cardboard are just, that's all you need. That's all you need to make props. I hope you liked this video. Love you. Bye.